Hey job seeker, welcome to episode 7 of the JobsPlus JobsCast. The JobsCast is our virtual job fair where the premise is pretty simple. We check in with a local employer that has immediate openings and we get an insider perspective on their culture, their pay, benefits, hours, more. In this episode, we're going to lay out some great opportunities at Upstate Medical University's Environmental Services. If after that you're interested in applying, I want you to go ahead and talk to your job coach about taking those next steps. If you have a question, feel free to drop it in the chat below. We're going to do our best to hit those as we go along. At JobsPlus, I say this every week, we believe in what we call empowerment through employment. It's our goal to inspire you to gain the freedom and power to become who you want to be as you discover what it means to be self-sufficient through the work you're paid to do. This week I was reminded of the power of our networks. You know, the web of relationships that you have either personally or professionally, those relationships that you invest time and energy into and from time to time withdraw time and energy from as well. They're the people you go to when you have a specific question about something because they work in that field or have experience with a product or services. And for me, this week, this scenario played out in a very compact way. A professional relationship I have with someone in a similar line of work had an event to announce a program that they started and I attended to support their efforts. They didn't ask me to come. I likely didn't even expect me to. I just went to be supportive. At the same time, I had a cancellation for today's JobsCast. And an hour after the event I attended, we had a call scheduled with another employer and they asked me to stay on the call after to talk more about my need for a guest today. They reached out and helped me line up a guest with some great opportunities so this show today could go on. That's the power of our networks. Many of you have personal networks that work similarly and already understand the power involved. I want to encourage you today, though, that you begin to develop a professional network. Take a look at your employment goals and begin following companies in that industry. LinkedIn is an online tool that makes this super easy. Once you find those companies you're interested in, begin with connecting with people in that company or in that industry. And once you're connected, like and share their updates and their information. Offer value by commenting on their posts. Keep an eye on the jobs that they have available and reach out to your connections to ask questions about the opportunity. There's no better time to start than today to begin experiencing this power for yourself. So with that, I want to give a big shout out to Megan. If you're watching, thanks for expanding my network and introducing me to today's guest, Lindsey John from the Environmental Services Department at Upstate Medical University. Hey, Lindsey, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So glad to have you in my network today and appreciate you jumping on last minute to be a part of this. Lindsey, you are the staffing training coordinator over at Upstate Medical University in the Environmental Services Department. So tell us a little bit about what's your view from the inside? What is it like? Why do you love being there and why do you want everyone to join you?
Absolutely. So I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. So I've been at Upstate for going on 11 years now. I haven't always done what I do now. Let's say it that way. I actually came into the department as a cleaner and kind of worked my way up through there. So that's one thing I love about Upstate is we embrace growth and development of the individual. And that in turn helps them, helps their family, and it also helps our institution. And it allows us to take really good care of our community because that's who we serve, right? So something I really love about our department is the culture. I say it all the time. I feel like it's a big family. Now we have about 300 employees. It's a big group of folks. And here you're not just a number. You're not just a body filling a spot. We know that each person has, their own life they're living outside of here, right? So our leadership genuinely cares about us as staff. And to me, that's huge.
That's great. That's so important to be able to have that kind of in your corner. And so tell us a little bit about environmental services. What is that? What does that encompass? And what are some of the roles that you guys have available immediately?
Absolutely. I just want to tell you just a couple things about Upstate, if that's okay in general, and then can I zone in on the department? Is that okay?
Perfect.
All right. So Upstate is huge. So we are the largest employer in Central New York. So we have just about over 9,000 employees. We're a level 1 trauma center. We just recently became magnet certified, which is awesome. That's a nursing excellence recognition. We're a New York State hospital and we're a New York State college. And we have 3 hospitals. So we have Community General Hospital. We have Upstate Hospital downtown campus. Then we also have the Galisanos Hospital. So we're 3, but we're all 1. And our mission is to improve the health of the communities we serve through education, biomedical research, and through patient care. So I want to talk to you a little bit more about our department. So a couple positions that we're looking to fill is the cleaner position. So the cleaner position starts out at $14.45 an hour. So that's $30,181 annually. What does it look like for a cleaner? Okay, so the only requirement is you must be 18 years of age. There's no educational requirements, no experience requirements. You come in, we train you on everything you need to know. We supply uniforms, safety shoes if you want them. What does it look like? So you come in the morning, you clock in, you get your assignment. So cleaners will be typically assigned to a section of a floor, and you could clean roughly about 13 to about 16 patient rooms a day. So what we do is we go in the patient room while they're there. We knock on the door, introduce ourselves, we make sure it's okay to enter their space. And once we're inside the room, we remove any waste stream. So that could be things like trash, soiled linen, recycling, regulated medical waste, which could be things like blood and body fluid. But again, we train you on how to handle all of that. And we also remove needle boxes as needed. Again, we do train that. We stock paper products in the patient room, so paper towels, toilet paper, and then we disinfect in their bathroom space, sink, bathtub, or shower, toilet, all the high touch points in the patient room we're touching. So we're doing, all over the bed table where the patient eats their meals, the call bell, the bed rails, tables, chairs, couches, recliners. We want to cut down on hospital-acquired infection, right? So we're disinfecting all these spaces, and then we mop the floor on the way out. So like I said before, we clean about 13 to about 16 of those a day, and then we clean all the spaces that are in between our patient rooms. So we got the main hallway, the nurse's station, the medication rooms, soiled utility rooms, public restrooms, offices, lounges, kitchens. Basically, you see it here, we're responsible to take care of it and clean it. So that's the cleaner position. And then we also are looking for janitors. So a janitor is a step above a cleaner. These positions typically start out at $16.11 an hour. So annual salary will be $33,631. Again, you must be 18 years of age to apply. The only requirement for this is to be able to read and write because it requires documentation. Other than that, we train you on everything else you need to know. Some supervisory experience is preferred, but not required. What does a janitor day look like? So the janitors are responsible to do everything that a cleaner would do. So everything I described to you before for that position. But janitors also have some additional pieces that they're responsible for. So they're what we like to call like a team leader. So they are like a frontline supervisor. So what they would do is they would help train new employees, do quality inspections on the cleaner's work. They primarily are responsible for floor care. So we do things like stripping and waxing of floors, auto scrubbing, buffing, things of that nature. If any of the supervisors, managers are all in a meeting, the janitor could step in and potentially run the entire shift if needed. So that's a little bit about what it looks like.
That's great. The couple things kind of quickly that came to mind. I mean, obviously we're fingers crossed, knock on wood, nearing the end of this COVID crisis. Specifically, and I know, I didn't necessarily ask you this as we prepped for this, but kind of comes to mind, what precautions are being taken? What extra steps do they kind of need to know to, go into this feeling really safe about the opportunity?
Absolutely. That's a great question because that is the elephant in the room, right? So we do a 5 days of mandatory hands-on training for all of our staff. For the janitor staff, we do a 2-week training period just because they got to learn the layers, right? They do the cleaner, then they do the janitor. So safety precautions. We are extensive with training. We have our in-hospital systems, infection control, environmental health and safety. Of course, we have to, we're governed by, Center for Disease Control, Department of Health. So we go by all those guidelines. Training is constantly changing and evolving. So we are always holding staff, going over it, all the personal protective equipment we have here. We teach you about all of our contact precautions, which COVID would be one of those. We show you, where to find the personal protective equipment, how to put it on, how to take it off, where it's located throughout the hospital. Things of that nature. Did I answer your question?
Great. Yeah, absolutely. Just like you said, elephant in the room. We definitely want to make people feel safe and comfortable applying and being a part of what you guys are doing. So, in many ways, it probably went without saying, but I wanted to make sure that we addressed it in everybody's minds. So, one of the things we really like to do on the JobsCast is kind of demystify the whole process. So, could you walk through from finding the job description and where to find it to all the way to onboarding? What does that look like for your typical applicant, and how long does that take?
Absolutely. So obviously you would go to upstate.edu/jobs and you could apply there. You could search for our cleaner job number, which is cleaner 2021 or janitor 2021. And in those job numbers, you'll see that it's for various shifts, various locations. As I mentioned earlier, we do have the community campus, we have the downtown campus. So the position could work at either one. So what we do is we have that various job, so you could apply. And then during the interview process, what we do is we ask you what your availability is like, what your hours are, what your preferences are. And then we do our best to place you according to your availability, full-time, part-time status based on what we have available at the time. So typically you would apply. We review on a regular basis the applications. We call, schedule an interview. And then after the interview process, we are required to check references. So we call 3 references, and they must be supervisors, managers, team leaders from past or present employment. Now, if you haven't worked before or have been out of work for a while, if you can get in touch with a past supervisor, we can also call mentors, head volunteers, teachers. So after we call the references, then what we do is, my piece is I submit the information, and then Human Resources does their review, and candidates who we move forward with get a call. We have some pre-employment requirements that you're required to go through. Everybody does. We do a background check, a drug screen, and a pre-employment physical. So from time of interview to actually get your feet on the ground here to start your orientation, I've seen it go as quick as 2 weeks. But because of all those pre-employment requirements, it typically takes about a month. And that's because we have to get, your immunizations, do your physical. So we have to just follow through with all these things. So really the faster you do things, the more dedicated you are, that could help move things along.
Great. So you did mention a little bit earlier too. So if somebody is super motivated, they can get through that process and they've got all their ducks in a row within potentially 2 weeks. Once they've got their foot in the door, I think you mentioned that you started at one of those lower levels and have worked your way up. What are the opportunities to grow and how does that happen?
Oh, absolutely. So that's one of my favorite things about Upstate. So environmental services is the gateway, if you will, into the hospital, right? So you can come in, learn what we do, see the environment, take it all in. So when I first came in, so I started in Upstate in 2009. I came in as a part-time cleaner. I worked on the evening shift. Had no idea what I wanted to do. Just feeling things out. I know I needed to work. I was taking some schooling, just trying to figure myself out, figure my life out, right? And I came in here and I liked the environment. I stayed. So what I did was I upped to my percentage. So I was 40%, which I was only working 2 8-hour shifts, so 16 hours a week. I became a 50% employee. 50% is actually when you are benefits eligible. So at the end here, I want to talk a little bit about our benefits here at Upstate, which they're incredible. And then I just continued to work. And then I applied for a janitor position. There is another little interview you have to go through. And continued to work. I continued to go to school part-time. I took a civil service exam, which the fees for the civil service exam were covered by our union, CSEA. So I was able to take that, and I applied for a supervising janitor position, which is, so you have cleaner, janitor, supervising janitor, and then manager. So I was a supervisor in the department, continued my education, I graduated, and then this role came up, and here I am. So, and I'm not the only one. We do have multiple people in our department who have similar stories. So one of our day shift managers, he came to Upstate as a cleaner, worked, got his degree. Now he's our manager. Our departmental trainer, she came in, was a cleaner, got her education switched over. She came from Cuba, and now she's our departmental trainer. Our assistant director, he came in as a cleaner. He went to a janitor. He left our department, actually, went to work for steel processing, which is a civil service tested position. And he came back as a manager, and now he was just recently promoted to assistant director. So we like to promote, we look to promote within. We want to see people do well. There's an incredible amount of opportunity. So a lot of our folks come in, they say, you know what, let me try out environmental services. Let's see what it's like. And then a lot of our folks, they go up to nursing. We've had some people go to physical plant, sterile processing, patient transport. So there's so many opportunities here. I couldn't even list them all. And like I said, environmental services is a gateway.
That's great. That's great. And I love that you describe it as a gateway. It's no matter who you are, what you do, I mean, this is your first step in the hospital could be right here. You said you wanted to touch on the benefits. Let's hear what you got going on there.
Absolutely. So we offer a variety of healthcare insurance options. We have the union, like I mentioned. You get yourself in the union. You can get dental and vision at no cost. There's flexible spending accounts. You can get yourself in the New York State retirement system. Sorry, and we also offer the employee assistance program. And so with the union also, they offer tuition reimbursement. So if you can take one class at a semester with a SUNY school, and they will either pay the class for you up front, or you could pay for the class and then they'll reimburse you after you've completed the course, which I actually did that for some of my education. So there's a lot of benefits here.
Great. I'm going to, throw another one at you from left field here. You mentioned the civil service exam.
Yes.
Any way to just kind of give us an inside look at kind of, what it looked like for you to study for that and be prepared for that and take the test?
Absolutely. So I knew nothing about it. Like, I have to take this test. Let's see what happens, right? So in my own time, I actually just did a lot of Googling, because there are some programs out there where you can pay to get the test, and you can get this, and you got to get that. They all want you to pay. But through some really hard Googling skills, I was able to pull up a really old mock supervising janitor test. So I would just say keep looking. A side note, I do know that there are some groups in the community that do help with civil service prep. I can get you some information on that if you'd like me to. So I just kind of went through it on my own. I actually took 2 civil service exams, and let me tell you, so you're studying, you're expecting this. It's not really what you think it's going to be. It's kind of changed up. Things are different. So I would just say have an open mind when you're looking into it, and when you're studying, looking at the questions, just know it's not going to be what you're studying. It's going to be similar to what you're studying. And point of advice, make sure you follow the instructions. I actually took the test with someone. We took the same test, and we worked together. And there was a part where he was like, I think I'm going to cheat the system and do this and try to get an easier way to get the answer. If they ask you to go through this whole line and alphabetize, do exactly what they ask you to do, because that will count against you. We found out the hard way, right? So,
yeah, that's great. And obviously that's not for all roles. That's for once you want to get into supervising janitor and beyond, right?
Yep.
Good. And to get your foot in the door, you don't need to take that test. But if you do want to level up to that degree, that's something that's going to be in your future, which is completely overcomable. Anyone could do it with a little bit of hard work, it sounds like.
Absolutely. And I was
Great.
there, up on the floors doing it, and I made it here. And, if I can do it, anybody can do it. You just got to, put your nose to the grindstone and just push through it. And you can get there. You can get there. You just take one day at a time.
That's great. Real quick, a couple things that also came to mind as we're kind of heading towards wrapping this up. Just wanted to ask a couple of questions, and you can choose to answer these however you want to answer them. But are there opportunities or accommodations for work limited people? Are there English language requirements, or can you get around the job without having to speak too much English? And last question kind of surrounds you're working with people in the rooms. What kind of background checks are being done, or drug tests or anything like that are maybe required?
Yeah. So I would say, if you're concerned about, you said work limited. Mm-hmm. What was your wording? Work limited?
Yeah, work limited. Anyone that might need some sort of accommodation.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would take a look at the job description, because in there lists specifically, what the duties would be, what you'd be responsible for. And if you had any questions about that and accommodations, I would say give our human resources department a call. You can always call me, because each situation is unique. So I couldn't really answer that question specifically, but I would say start with the job description. And if that doesn't answer your question, we can help you dig deeper.
Great.
The background check. So we do, I can't really specifically speak to this because I don't actually work in the human resources department. Mm-hmm. I'm in the environmental services, but I do know that is one of the questions on our applications. And I would say give as much information as possible. We do run the background. Just be open and honest with us. It's trust and believe me, we're all human beings. No one's here to judge. We have to provide documentation. And if you answer yes on your application, please be willing to talk and explain and give as much detail as possible.
Great.
As far as the drug screen, I know we do them. I couldn't really give you any more specific information. If you had something specific, I could look into it.
Okay. Absolutely. No, that's great. And in terms of English, maybe as a second language, or any limitations there, do you run into issues there?
So awesome thing. Our department is very diverse. So we have 30 languages in our department alone. So that's pretty awesome, right?
That is great.
Cool. It's exciting. So we love it. We embrace that. I would just say, to be able to, you have to be able to answer the interview questions, mm-hmm. and be able to explain the cleaning process after you've been trained. So to be able to take in what we share with you, and then be able to give it back to us.
Great.
Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. As we wrap up, anything maybe you forgot you want to add in or close with?
So I just, this position, it's, right now, especially tough time, but I see our people, and I see what they do, and they care. This is patient-centered facility, patient-centered care. So, compassion, empathy, care. So, and to me, that's the stuff that really matters. That's the stuff you can't train on, right? Yeah. So if you have a calling to work with people, help people, be around people, I say apply to work here. In a different role I was in, a patient mentioned, if it wasn't for my cleaner, I would have lost my mind a long time ago. So We do offer a huge piece to their stay here. We're not just cleaners. There's a huge science behind what we do, and we're family. So if you need a place to work and you're interested in the healthcare field, please come join our family.
That's great. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us today, Lindsey.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Everybody take care. Stay safe.
Thank you. If you are interested in employment at Upstate Medical University, please contact your coach. Let them know that you're ready to join a team like Lindsey's. If at any point your brain put up a roadblock that you can't seem to get your mind around, trust me when I say, and I can hear it in Lindsey as well, that is not a sign to give up or let this opportunity pass. It's a sign to hit up your network. And you know who's in your network? Your job coach. Let them know that you want this. Explain whatever barrier you might be facing to your coach. And if you were listening to Lindsey about the civil service exam, maybe you know already that you want to level up or get to that point. One of our coaches already chimed in. Thank you, Gia, saying that temporary assistant recipients can have their civil service fees waived. So if you are interested in that, there's a way. Talk to your coach. They already know how to take down this roadblock and get you on to that next level. If for some reason you don't know how to reach your coach, that is perfectly fine, because I will let you know that on jobsplus.org/jobseekers, if you go and you scroll all the way to the bottom past all the wonderful services that are available to you, past some of our upcoming job seeker events, you will find right here two very important things. Number one, our private Facebook group just for you. And I'll talk about that in a minute. And right in here, you can fill out a form, and I will personally make sure that gets into your coach's hands. So jobsplus.org/jobseekers, and scroll all the way down, fill out that form, and we will make sure that it gets to your coach. And before I let you go, I want to make a little bit of a request. If you found any of this content helpful, I would encourage you to hit that subscribe button on the platform you're enjoying this on. If it's YouTube, also click the bell to make sure that you will always be reminded when we have future live streams or when we upload new content. And you can find all of our social media at the very, very top here of our website. Join that. You'll get exclusive information about upcoming jobs. You'll get information about services in the community and things that are available to you for the particular job seeker group. Once you get on your page, you can find that group, and you'll be approved once you answer just a few questions. But that's a way to grow your network. You can find out other people that are kind of in the same boat, that maybe are looking for similar opportunities or have just landed those opportunities. This is a way to build your network and be a part of that. So you are not going to want to pass that up. We are really excited about getting you in a place where you're able to expand that network. Want to ask you to join us again next Friday, where we're always going to be having another JobsCast. So please check that out. Go onto our website, jobsplus.org, sign up for that. We cannot wait to spend some more time with you. And we just want to say thank you. And now let's get to work.